Every one of us is a soul on a journey who has taken a dive through space and time to have a third-dimensional experience for the purpose of remembering and evolving on our way back to the source. On the level of perception, evolution means an expansion of awareness, a growing realization of our true origin as an integrated participant and aspect of all that is. But since all we are is energy, then what does evolution mean on a level of vibration?
What you're going to see now are what happens to particles of sand and other various particles when a sound resonates across a plate and resonates those particles in tune with the sound. Because when we think, we're not just sending out a wave which resonates the energy, we're sending out on a frequency outside of the range of human hearing, we're sending out a sound. Everything is sound. When we think, a sound goes out, it resonates the energy around us to that sound. And what you're about to see are some pictures that show this happening when sound is introduced, and how sound takes random particles and turns it into astonishing form.
Everything owes its existence solely and completely to sound. Sound is the factor which holds it together. Sound is the basis of form and shape.
So what you're looking at here is merely particles formed into patterns by sound. They were all over the place to start with, just in random positions on the plate. As soon as the sound appears, they form into these patterns, because everything is sound, and it is sound that turns matter and energy into form. Patterns on the wings of birds and insects are all the manifestation of the sound vibrations. Every organ in our body resonates to a certain frequency. And when our thoughts and emotions and stress and the vibrations that causes de-harmonize the vibrational state of our various parts of our body, we become ill. We think ourselves into illness because we're affecting the vibrational state of the body. And so every time you think and feel, you're resonating a frequency which is making the energy around you resonate to the same frequency. What you give out is what you create. Here you're seeing mini galaxies just formed by particles and sound. This is how the galaxies and the universe and the solar systems were formed and continue to be held in the structure they're in through sound. If the sound changes, the matter changes, the energy changes. So when you look at what it says in texts like even the Old Testament, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was sound. And sound is everything. When you think and feel, you're creating sound. And we've seen the galaxies, and now here are the planets forming, just on a plate from particles caused by sound passing through them. This planet has a resonant frequency. It's called the Schumann cavity resonance. But basically, while that frequency holds, the planet will hold its present form. If the frequency changes, the form will change. It's the same with everything.
We believed up until recently that this number 7.8 was a constant, that every second that we experience, that Earth pulses a certain number of times. Well, something interesting began to happen in the, again, in the mid to late 1980s. What we see is this. There's 7.0, here's 8, 7.8, all the way through 1970s, 1980. In the mid to late 1980s, 86, 87, right around in there, that number began to increase mysteriously. And it went from 7.8 to 8 to 8.23 to 8.6. At the end of 1995, the number was validated at 8.6 cycles per second. In just a few years, it had been a constant throughout the time that we had been measuring this parameter. Now, in early 1996, researchers are reporting numbers as high as 9 cycles per second. And what we're seeing is this, that as we move forward in time, this vibration is increasing, and again, it's nonlinear. The more it increases, the faster it increases.
The interesting part about the Schumann resonance is that it lies directly in the heart of the alpha brain frequency. So when one meditates and slows the mind down to the alpha level, they are literally tapping into the mind of the planet and becoming one with nature. As Mother Nature increases her vibrations, it becomes easier to align ourselves with nature, and this creates changes in us physically, mentally, and spiritually. We all still have free will to put out whatever vibrations we wish based on our thoughts and emotions, but one cannot escape the positive effects that will result from the Earth's frequency changes.
Because of the reduced adhesion, the particles of iron have certain degrees of freedom. They can move, fall into line, form figures, and almost dance, but only in obedience to the vibration imposed.
Each of us is like a leaf blowing in the wind, free to dance and sing and play, but divinely guided on our way.